Good morning, hockey fans. This is Steven Heisler with HeisHockey.com, the Victorious Hockey Company, and the Junior Hockey Discussion Group on Facebook. This is the Junior Hockey Morning Show. Today is Friday, March 3rd, 2023. Yes, this is an absolutely live show. You can find us on the World Sports Broadcasting Network, WSBN.TV, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Hopefully in your car, on your phone, on your computer, or wherever you happen to be this morning if you're watching the live show. Maybe you're watching me late at night. Completely up to you. Hey, why am I so happy? Leafs won. Did not look good at Edmonton, but picked up a 2-win yesterday in Calgary with a bunch of new faces on the roster, so they're not quite soiled yet. You know, Toronto is always good at inflating the balloon of hope. Second place in the division does that before the big prick comes out, first round of the playoffs, and pops the balloon. And we're all depressed for 6 more months. We played this game all over again. It's incredible being a Leafs fan. Very much like going to the doctor's office or being a diabetic. Lots of pain. Lots and lots of pain. 13 goals were scored last night in Maine as the Nordiques slipped past the Tomahawks in overtime 7-6. Must have been a very defensive game. Today's topic, already getting a lot of attention this morning on Facebook, Twitter, the 5 worst of the North American 3 Hockey League. Last week we talked about the best and worst clubs in the North American Hockey League for developing prospects. Today, we're looking at the train wrecks of the North American 3 Hockey League. These are the clubs every player should stay far away from. What criteria are we basing this on? Each club is ranked in each of the following categories: ownership, coaches, facilities, hockey operations, and local support. Once that is done, the top 10 were dropped before the list was re-ranked, and we do that again and again until the last 5 are there. And we scored that last 5 and come up with today's list. Let's call these the ugly ones. This coffee break sponsored by the Bustelo Coffee Company and the North American Hockey League. Not really. I'm sure that I'll get a notice in the mail from some attorney in Wyoming today, possibly Montana. This will be fun. Number 5, Bay State Bobcats. The Bobcats have been little more than a speed bump for division opponents since they jumped on the ice there in Mass. It's been an issue. Not very competitive. Then there's the ridiculous number of distractions and opportunities available to players in the area, inside and outside of USA Hockey. You got youth hockey, you got the Eastern Hockey League, you got the USPHL, and there's 6 number 100 teams. So it's understandable why the Bobcats are having a difficult time putting a decent product on the ice. Lose too many games, you get players stolen. The biggest issue is the culture is comparable to that of AA youth hockey. And it's more like that than it ever will be about moving players to the North American Hockey League. In reality, I don't know if they have any players that have played significant time in the NAHL so far over the course of their existence. That's a bad sign. Number 4, the Northeast Generals. Yes, they're a powerhouse in that East Division. But once again, leadership continues to be the major issue. Look, I like Brian Erickson. Doesn't like me right now. That's okay. But the man is loyal to a fault and refuses to see the glaring issue regarding his general manager, Matt Dibble. He doesn't believe it. Doesn't believe that there are inquiries or there have been allegations. Doesn't want to believe it. It's a witch hunt, he says. I know this after so many years in the game. When there's that much smoke, there's fire somewhere. Second issue with that team is nobody is going to these games. And the 3HL team is little more than a fundraiser for the North American Hockey League team. Initially, that wasn't the case. I think that their intentions were good. They really wanted to develop players for the Generals, but it's become less and less about that. A couple of kids make that transition, but it's few and far between. Add in the youth programs and that fiasco they had there last year with housing and being suspended by Mass Hockey. And until there's no issues with that team for a couple of years, and Matt Dibble's gone, that's still a no-go as far as we are concerned. Yes, they win hockey games, but there's more to this than that, isn't there? Number 3, Helena Bighorns. Another high-flying team out in the West. They have a very overbearing head coach and locker room culture that is bordering on legendary status. All kinds of antics and stories coming out of that room. And a local following that sucks it all up for all the wrong reasons. Welcome to Helena, Montana. There is some good news here. Hot rumors are circulating about the Bighorns jumping ship to the waters of the NCDC. Will they sink or swim once they get there? Had a discussion yesterday with a very high-level person within that organization, the NCDC and the USPHL, who I'm not supposed to be talking about, who's saying that he has not heard about Helena jumping, but from the other side, from the North American Hockey League and the North American 3 Hockey League, it's almost a foregone conclusion. So something's happening in Helena. Number 2, Mid-City Stars. Players from the last few years are saying that the New Orleans-based owner's son, now the general manager and ex-player, is known to traffic illegal substances to the boys in the room. Let me say that again. Players from the past are saying that this general manager is buddy-buddy with the boys and trafficking illegal substances to those boys. Look it. Vaping's bad enough. You add the marijuana pods to it. What the hell's the point of playing hockey if that's what you're putting in your lungs? Then there's talk about the Dallas Stars wanting to rescind Mid-City's use of the Stars name and logo. Can't figure out why. It's been a train wreck for years. Even with all of that, this team cannot sink to the bottom of the list. Bing, 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 bing. My phone's going off again. Before going number 1, I'll get a shot of coffee. It's Friday. Lots of coffee this morning. It's working until like 3 o'clock in the morning last night. On hockey. A lot of moving parts today, this week. Number 1, the last place you should ever send your child or pay for your child to go play hockey. Sheridan Hawks, Sheridan, Wyoming. Current head coach Chad Bailey was in the room when the boys were performing homosexual hazing rituals a few years back. And that's according to multiple sources within the team at that time. Yes, the head coach, Andy Scheib, is gone, but Bailey is still there, along with the same ownership that really enabled all that behavior. I'm told now they put a monitor of some sort in the locker room, and a lot of that stuff has been cut out. But Chad Bailey's still the head coach. He's still there. And for that reason, there's no way we can ever recommend that a family take a chance on the organization. Look it, there's a lot of bad people out there. But in general, across the 3HL, across the USPHL, across Canada, you're going to find that 90% or more of the organizations are going to do the things the right way. Yes, there are some bad characters out there, but that's the advantage of having a good advisor. You either hire me, you hire Tim Matson, you hire somebody else, but make sure that advisor has the connections and the network of influence to understand what are good options and where are not good options. That's the important part of this. Had a conversation last night with a player in Alaska and his family, and it was pretty clear. It's what's happening around the game is coaches at the youth level, they want to hold on to their kids because it's good for business. It's good for their bottom line. It's good for them to win. But your advisor's best thing they can do for you is to put you in a situation where you're going to have success. Success does not mean you're on the top line, you're on the power play, and you're not being challenged for ice time. To me, success is getting you into the right developmental sweet spot. That second or third line, you're fighting for power play opportunities. You're scratching to get to that second line, maybe an occasional shift in the first line. That's your sweet spot. Being healthy scratched every other game, that's not the sweet spot. You're gonna be right in the middle of the lineup, right in the middle of the roster. Hungry, working hard, hitting the gym, doing whatever it takes to get better. That's the key to your success. And your advisor should know where those best opportunities are for you. Here's the trick. A parent or a player can kind of negotiate and get the position known by the power of one or maybe two players. Maybe you got a brother, maybe you got a cousin, maybe 3 or 4 players at best. But when a coach is working with an advisory company like ours, over the course of that coach's career, that can mean a recommendation to a higher level job. That literally can mean access to hundreds of players. And it's good to be in our network. Coaches that are in our network have success. We help coaches get better opportunities. We don't charge coaches anything. We help those coaches because they help us and because they're helping our kids and they're working with our kids. And the reward for that is good recommendations and better opportunities. So although that coach may be at tier 3, next year he may be coaching college hockey. We got a coach right now that's on his way to major junior hockey. That's coaches want to climb that ladder of development as well as the players. Let's keep that picture in mind this weekend as you're looking at opportunities for next year and beyond. Keep climbing the ladder of development. Anybody that's trying to keep you back from climbing that ladder, that's not the person you want involved in your game or your decision making. Tommy, how are we doing on time? Bingo?
1 minute.
All right. Folks, Friday, Daisy's going to go on a retreat tonight and tomorrow with about 100 crazy Latinas. Sonny is doing a overnight sleepover with the youth ministry folks, we think. And Tommy and I are home alone. I think we're going to have pizza, no beer. I won't know. Until tomorrow or Monday, enjoy your coffee